Hey, on today's edition of the Pilot's Advisor, we've got a great viewer question from Dwayne. And Dwayne says, from the cockpit, I've always heard it's best to keep flying until 65 before retiring and claiming Social Security. At 57, the thought of another 8, 9 years at the controls seems pretty daunting. How critical is it to stay in that pilot seat until 65?
Well, I think this opens up a lot of different questions. First of all, airline pilots have a beautiful situation where if you're tired and you want, you're going down that line to retire, uh, we can pull the throttles back and practice retirement. That's the first thing I would say.
Okay.
There's a lot of airline guys that want to retire at 60, but then they start seeing how much healthcare is going to cost to bridge the gap, to 65, and it's daunting. But you could stay on and fly less and still keep that job going. So I tell most of my clients that practice retirement first. Your spouse doesn't like you that much anyway. You can't all of a sudden, show up full time when you've been gone half the month for the last 25 years. So ease into that first. Keep your health care, still working on your 401k, and that's going to be a good situation that airline pilots have that other careers don't. Okay, so that's the first thing I'd say.
So many careers, Ryan, you've got to just have that official date, and employers can't accommodate you going to transition into part-time. But you're right, that's got to be something pretty unique about the pilot world where you can pretty much do that in a lot of cases.
Well, and it's actually amazing because there's a lot of pilots I know that just said, "Hey, I'm burnt out, I'm done,"
Yeah.
and then a couple months later they're like, "That was a mistake."
Mm.
You get that first month or two off, and you're like, "Oh, this is so great, I'm not out on the road anymore," and then next thing you know, you're like, "I wish I could go on a trip,"
Yeah.
So having the career where you can practice retirement, I think, is an amazing thing. Take advantage of it. Take some
Yeah.
time off, and they'll tell you if you're truly ready for retirement or just maybe not ready for full retirement. And that doesn't even take into account the added benefits of still having that company put B fund contributions into your 401k and having healthcare that are going to reduce your costs that you're going to have in retirement. But the other part of that question, and I'm sorry, what was his name? Was it Dwayne that was
This is
asking?
Dwayne. Yeah.
So Dwayne, you're asking about Social Security, and I think this conversation's drastically changed over the years. It used to be that I'd say, "Hey, Dwayne, when are you going to die?" And based off of when you're going to die, we could make an easy calculation of what was the best option for you.
Yeah.
But it's really changed now. And how it's changed is I think Social Security is not going to go away, but I think it's going to be reduced and it may even be means tested. So what's changing with a lot of our pilots that retire, they're taking it at full retirement age. They're taking it early and they're trying to take what they can while they can. Because I think almost everyone agrees that it's probably going to be reduced or means tested. So that's a change that I see. And of course, that's less income that you're taking off of your 401k to live off of. And so in what I'm starting to see is people are being a little bit more aggressive of taking that early. What do you see, Walter? What do you think with this Social Security issue that's out there where we have to make a bunch of assumptions because there's a lot of unknowns? And I think the one thing that people do agree on is that it's going to be reduced.
I think the thing that strikes me in your answer is that there is an opportunity to look at the positive of, okay, I may have a reduced benefit if I take it early, but I'm not going to have to withdraw from other accounts as much. And so what opportunity does that create, being able to stay in the market longer and those kinds of things? So I like how you're viewing those trade-offs, where a lot of people just look at, the first part of that equation and don't think about the benefits of doing so. But vice versa as well, right? Oh, well, I'll have to start drawing my income earlier if I wait to take Social Security, and I won't be able to offset it. So I don't know. I think it's just important to be talking about those trade-offs with folks, that people overlook that a lot of the time.
Well, exactly. And if we knew exactly when you were going to die, then it's easy, right?
Right.
But there's always that break-even analysis that
We
you got to
wouldn't
look
even need
at.
you, Ryan. There would be just a normal formula that we plug in that death date, and it would just spit out exactly what to do. But
Well, and that's people plan their lives on earning a full income and no medical issues
yeah,
and that's just not the way life happens. So I do try to bring up that this is how life goes, and you might be out for a month or two on medical
yeah.
or I mean, unfortunately, accidents happen. I just heard today they were changing a tire at Atlanta's airport. The tire exploded, and two of the maintenance workers are dead.
Mm.
And, it's just horrible. Like I've been actually thinking about that since you started the podcast, and that's life. I mean, bad things happen. And so being prepared and protecting your loved ones in case something happens is something that I think about very, very often. And one of the biggest holes I see in a lot of people's plans is if something happens to that airline that airline pilot, they're not in a good spot. That's the biggest hole where, hey, you're living this lifestyle right now. Well, what if something happened to you? And in most cases, they're very underinsured.
Yeah, great points, Ryan. Last question for you here for Dwayne or anybody in a similar situation. So let's say there is a pilot, they're in their late 50s. They're assuming they're gonna have to work until 65, or that's the best course of action, but they're really feeling that draw to try and exit a little bit sooner, whether it's taking Social Security at 62 and backing out then, or maybe even earlier. What's the best first step for people in that mindset to take?
Well, you got to start looking at the whole picture, and that's probably going to be working with a financial advisor that can actually project what your retirement's going to look like. And of course we have to make some assumptions there, but it's going to be some program that they have access to where we're looking at assumptions on what's the rate of return on your assets going forward, when that's going to stop, what the inflation rate is, what tax bracket you're going to be in. And then we run Monte Carlo simulations, 10,000, 20,000 different simulations of all the different things that could happen in the market. And this is where I think it'd be so overwhelming to be a do-it-yourselfer.
Yeah.
Like they know that they have to save for retirement, but that distribution phase has so many different variables that 99 out of 10 pilots, I think that's what Coach used to say, 99 times out of 10. So 99 pilots out of 10 haven't even thought about, didn't even know that was a variable out there. And it goes back to the old saying, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, the type A pilot, yeah, you're good at your job, but I think you might want to work with an advisor and get yourself planned out to be in a much better position for retirement.
Well, don't forget to like and subscribe this video if you found it helpful. Ryan is the pilot's advisor. He's helping pilots each and every day get to and through retirement, answering key questions, working with them to set up a solid retirement plan. If you'd like to engage, learn a little bit more, here is really the one step that you need to take. It is to go to retirepilots.com and order the free retirement toolkit, packed with guides, information, research, and helpful resources to help you learn a little bit more about what it's going to take to retire successfully. And then you can take the conversation with Ryan from there. But that's the great first step that everybody takes. Go to retirepilots.com and order that free retirement toolkit. Ryan, thanks for answering Dwayne's question. We'll catch up with you on the next video.
Everybody fly safe.
Attention aviators, when you've spent years in the cockpit managing the complexities of flight, isn't it time you navigated your retirement with the same precision? Introducing retirepilots.com. Right at your touchdown zone on our homepage, there's a beacon flashing, "Get my free toolkit." Click that and you'll be cleared for a direct route to Ryan's retirement toolkit, tailor-made for pilots like you. Inside, you'll find two of his important works, The Pilot's Advisor and Pilots Retire Early. Between these two books, you can decipher the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65 and discover the 7 lessons to help pilots land safely in retirement. But that's not all. This toolkit is packed with altitude-high value, including extras to get your retirement plans off the runway and light the afterburners on your 401k. Vector on over to retirepilots.com to grab your toolkit, and let's embark on this journey together.